YouTubers! Whew! You know, it's been a long journey to get from there to here. And now that I'm standing here in front of you, I've got something to share with you that's going to help the entire world, everybody. And a suggestion from my son, he said, you know, if you share it with everybody, everybody can be helped. So this is a gift to the world. And it's Sonoluminescent Viron treatment systems. As far as I know, nobody's put like one and one together on these systems and been able to say, hey, wait a minute, all the virons are spherical and they're smaller than pretty much any structure in the human body. Well, because they're spherical, like a tiny, tiny balloon in your body, you can pop it with sound. Pop, 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 pop. But you can do it even faster than that. So what I looked at for a few years now, and I've spoken with medical professionals in the free world and also in the Indian nations, medicine men, and they said when you figure it out, you present it. You present it to the world and you let them know that they don't have to be afflicted by silly little viruses like AIDS and COVID-19 and any viron structure that happens to be spherical. Because you can use sound, specific frequencies of sound. And in the case of AIDS, for example, it's between 1.5 and 2.5 terahertz. That should be right around the range to implode the viron without affecting other cells. Now, in my design here that I'm presenting, there's a tank of water. And you could move the patient through this, or you could move this over the patient. In this particular one, moving the emission system over the patient, which is fine. We can do that. I think this is just one idea. You got the rails down here, and the whole system just kind of moves back and forth until the viral load is eliminated in the body's tissue. And it's real specific about how to do that. Now, I have multiple emission points. These are blue lasers striking sapphire crystals, and the sapphire crystals would emit between 1.5 and 2.5 terahertz. So you can target the AIDS virus. You can probably target several virons within the 80 to 100 nanometer diameter range. And you know, viruses, they can get squishy too. They can get bigger and smaller, and so you need to be able to make sure you hit them exact. Now, sound, as you know, since we're made of water, goes right through us. And it resonates too, but I mean, it goes right through us pretty much. It's basically harmless. And we use ultrasonics. This is different. This is hypersonics. This is in the gigahertz and terahertz range. You can use lower frequencies too for other types of therapeutic uses, but this particular one. Now, what's really cool about this technology is how it does it. Now, like I said, we're targeting the actual structure of the virus, not necessarily its protein keys and those kind of things. What we're doing is we're targeting the actual structure. So what happens with a bubble and sonoluminescent systems is you take there and if the bubble's caught between two concave emitters of a particular frequency, the bubble starts to go pow! And when it goes pow, you get two things. Not only do you get the pow, but you get a flash, a little tiny flash right in the middle. And that's UVC light and temperatures exceeding or approaching 9,000 degrees C. Or so they say. My theory on that is that perhaps it might not be quite that hot. Either way, because you have water and because of distance squared and so little energy in that area, that the thermal load is basically, you know, nothing other than it's in the core of the viron, and the viron is destroyed in the middle, and you end up with harmless RNA, little fragments that float away from the reaction. So this can be proven in vitro in laboratories. I haven't seen anybody do it yet, but it can be done. The math checks out. You can take sound of a particular frequency, and you can take a structured bubble thing of a particular frequency or a particular size, and you can implode that thing. You might pow, and it's gone. And you get a little flash of UVC light too in the tissue areas. Now, that UVC light to me and you, our skin, it's not going to affect us. It's such a small thing. But viruses, now viruses usually come from like they're born in our blood, the blood-borne viruses. There's other viruses too, but the blood-borne virus in particular, the AIDS virus, COVID virus, these viruses congregate in tissue, and that's how they infect us and they stay in us. If you get a bunch of little UVC flashes right in that area, this delivers, it does two things. It pops the viruses and it delivers UVC pulses to those areas, those afflicted tissue areas. So you're essentially applying antibacterial light inside your tissues and destroying the virus at the same time. So what does UVC light do to AIDS and COVID both? Well, it destroys the outer protein shell, which means that any of the virus that is not directly popped by the hypersonic sonoluminescent cavitation is going to have its protein shell essentially singed off in places, and that's enough to disable it. Trust me. So you're going to deactivate the virus essentially using UVC light in the tissues of the body, throughout the tissues of the body. Now, viral structures targeted are smaller and spherical with collapsible membrane, which I mentioned before. You'll need a specific frequency for each virus or viron targeted. Emitter strengths needed to implode the AIDS virus will need to be determined. I can't tell you what they are. You're going to have to do some experimentation on your own out there in the world. And it could be tuned to eliminate any spherical viral pathogen. All of them, any of them. And you start, oh, well, there's a bunch of different ones. Yeah, but we're not trying to unlock the mysteries of the protein shell. We're just trying to pop them like bubbles. And we can do that. Now, any spherical viral particle can be targeted. Now, the UVC at the core of the viral structure plus the 9,000 degree C heat, when the implosion occurs, a little flash in the beginning, in the center of the viron is going to cause that RNA, whatever RNA, to destroy itself. It's no longer going to be an intact viron, which is what we want. Sonoluminescent of virus cores. You can retreat the afflicted as needed to eliminate the viral load in the body. Now, the cool thing about this type of technology is it can be scaled up. It can be scaled way up. Now, let's talk about a scaled up sign. I mean, this is cool. I mean, the tank and the water and all that stuff. This is my idea to the best delivery of sound through the human body using a water medium to transmit those frequencies through the body. So, that's one way to do it. And we have to use cryogenically cooled blue lasers and crystals, cryogenically cooled crystals and a blue laser to get the frequencies of 1.5 to 2.5 terahertz of the sound that you needed. Then, of course, you'll need a special emitter head, probably, I don't know, diamond or something like that. Oh, or even better, how about, we'll do like diamond coated something. It'll be really neat. Or sapphire. Sapphire is a really cool crystal. Since we're using a sapphire generator, this could be a giant, let's do that. We'll take a bunch of blue lasers, and then we'll take a big sapphire, one of those man-made ones, and we'll make it so that when we strike that crystal all over the place with the blue laser, the whole thing just starts going at these frequencies, and it's going to be like a super emitter, which is really cool. And we can do that for, we can use that for the scaled-up version. Let's do that too. So now we've got these giant, grown, man-made sapphires that we can put on top of towers or put all over. But what's really cool is you can make a hypersonic antiviral portal. You take somebody who's like, and they know they've got a virus, a common cold, who knows what it is, but you get it figured out. Maybe we can just kind of like use the shotgun approach, and we can have an antiviral hypersonic ring. And I've got the common cold, I've got this, I've got that. Okay, we should be able to target any viron with a spherical structure. So we could set up an antiviral portal where they literally would walk through it, and it would be enough to reduce their viral load to basically undetectable levels pretty fast. And it would cause basically zero damage to them. Now that's in a future, we'd have to expound upon this technology a little bit more, or quite a bit more, and be able to just make a safe antiviral portal that they can walk through. And this could be in hospitals, so you could just have that thing at the entrance of the hospital. I'm going to walk through this hospital. You pay your money at the entrance, you walk through the hospital. It might not just be a portal, it might be a tunnel that you have to walk through, and there's multiple rings, and as you walk through it, it scrubs your body of every type of pathogenic viron that you could possibly have. And when you get to the other end, well, you might be tired for a little bit, your kidneys might be a little bit overloaded, but you drink some fluids and you'll be fine. It'll be great. It's cool. And then, in in the future, let's go way into the way future, we can have virus-free cities that literally the virons cannot survive in that city at all. And that's the virus-free city of the future. Now, between here and there, you could have virus-free schools. Great idea. Virus-free government centers, public centers, transit systems. There's all these virus-free things that you can create before you try to take on the entire city, and you could help civilization. And civilization is what we need to do to move forward. You know, we're all this huge community, and that's why I'm here today to tell you about sonoluminescent viral elimination and cavitation systems, because I know it'll work. The math checks out. We can destroy viruses in the human body basically instantaneously. Just poof, and they're gone. And that's important. You know, we're not out physical materials. It's not like we have this rare, I don't know what you'd call it, like unobtainium medicine that we've only got 20 grams of this and we can only treat 2,000 people with this. Come on. Let's look at hard science and figure this out. And know that in the future we're going to need antiviral hypersonic portals. We're going to need treatment tanks, and I think they even talked about those tanks in Star Wars. You know, the Bacta tank, whatever. That was different though. This is hypersonic Viron treatments. We can do it. It's out there, man. Contact me. Let's make these systems. This is really cool. There's so many other things you can do with hypersonic sound. You can wait until you see some of the cool stuff we can do. I've been studying it for over 3 decades now, and this is just one of those things that a long time ago I talked to an Indian Native American medicine man, and he was from the Crow Indian Nation, and he said, one day, Chris, you will be able to go out there. One day. And of course, you know, that's one of those things. One day, and of course now I'm 0205 because I've kind of taken that name. And that's the thing the Egyptians did. They, you know, you as a performer, as a scientist, as a person, you're given a name when you're born. And then eventually you gotta create your own feeling about who you are and how you view the world. And me, I'm Z0205IQ because I was raised Judeo-Christian. I believe turn the other cheek. You know, I believe that the world deserves a second and third and infinite chances to try to fix itself until everybody comes on board with the let's help each other kind of thing. And I realize there's a lot of war going on right now. There's a lot of death. There's a lot of terrible things in the world. But this could solve so many problems and save millions of lives. Millions of lives. Perhaps even billions in the future. I mean, one day the human race is going to expand out into space, and it's going to be cool. And we're going to have all these super cool robots, and I've talked about those before, but the future can be what we make it if we save as many people as we can. Every single person out there in the world might have a better idea on how to do things and help the world. You never know. And I think that should be the principle. It's a giving principle. It's something we should have. Anyways, I hope you liked the video. I hope you are a med student or a doctor or somebody with a ton of cash and scientific facilities and postdoctorate degrees and all these other things that you can take this technology to where it needs to go, to the next level, to the people, to save them, to create this new chapter in human history where we don't have to be afraid of the runaway viruses that'll take you out in 2-3 days. See, that's the problem. COVID-19. Yeah, I worked with a guy. He calls me up on a video chat. He's like, man, I feel so sick. And I'm like, well, did you feel fine yesterday? He said, yeah. And I said, all right, well, you know what to do. Go to the hospital. That guy died 2 days later. And he died from COVID. So, honestly, it's a quick strike on these terrible viruses, but if we had a quick strike back that we could literally just go and then the person is fine, they don't die anymore because it eliminates the viral load at the structure level. At the structure level. And in those little pockets in your body where you need to be able to deliver a medicine, a curing medicine, in this case UVC, you would deliver that UVC. So You know, that guy, if this system had been there, he would have lived. He would have lived. He'd be here today. And he was an engineer, a controls engineer, an elite class controls engineer. And if he could have lived through that, he'd be still out there building and fixing and making stuff. So this is something that is absolutely needed. And it's needed as soon as humanly possible. Let's get this out there. Once again, I'm Zeo205IQ, and I want you to smash that like button, subscribe, tell your friends, in this case, tell your doctor friends. I can't believe this thing I saw on YouTube the other day. It was amazing! Sonoluminescent Viron elimination system. What? What? It's so out there, but it's capable of doing everything I just said. And more, and more. There's a whole bunch of stuff you can do with sound in the human body, because we're made out of water, and it's just really cool. Anyways, thank you for tuning in, and this is Zeo205IQ signing out. Later, guys.